Hello again. Well, anyway, we said hello already. So tell me all there is to know about your comedy and what you do and all that.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm a stand-up. I've been going since I think February 2018. I don't actually remember. So
Right.
I had about 2 years before lockdown fucked me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucked everything.
But yeah, I'm primarily a one-liner comic. So
All right.
I got I'm doing a course at the moment with a guy in Scotland, Des McLean,
Okay.
and for that I sort of like tried to break my record for punchlines, and in a 10-minute set I got 34 punchlines out, which
All
is
right. 30,
insanity.
34. It's like 3.5 a minute. Yeah, it's a good.
It's about 15-20 seconds per
Right.
punchline, I think. Which in itself is nothing to be proud of, because if it's shit punchlines,
Yeah,
then what does it
exactly.
matter? But
I have the lines. I don't have the laughs, but I do have the punchlines.
yeah. Hey, I'm going to be talking a lot.
Yeah.
You might not be laughing a lot, but yeah, no, I've been going a few years. I don't really count lockdown. I've been doing Zoom gigs in lockdown
Right.
and whatnot. But one thing I really wanted to do, which I'd done once, and it went really, really well. But I did a roast battle
All right. That's cool.
against another comic, and we took like 3 weeks to write it. But we just basically he told me very personal things about himself, and I told him all the personal things about me, and we just tore each other to shreds. We were savages, and it was brilliant. It was
Yeah,
so
it's
fun. We did it
amazing.
in a pub.
Yeah.
So fun.
I
But
tried doing the same in France, but people they said, "Oh, it's like you're being mean and stuff." Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the oh, no.
yeah, that's one thing I always wondered. I heard it because I remember watching um, Eddie Izzard years ago, and I
Yeah.
remember him saying that when he started doing comedy in France, it just there wasn't a comedy scene at all. Like people, which was like, "What are you
Really?
doing?"
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. Yeah.
Has it come any distance? And since
Yeah. It bit by bit, it's starting. Paris. Of course, you have lots of people who travel and stuff, so they enjoy that. So now there's stand-up clubs in Paris everywhere. Where I live, there's like two scenes once a week, so I had to create my own comedy club. So
oh
to get
wow,
to be able to go on stage, so just you have all the
yeah,
gear. So
you had to
yeah,
create the space.
exactly. If there's a bar or something, I just go. So can you do comedy here? It's like, yeah. So but it is like a new thing to attract customers. So that's a cool thing. So how about the lessons you're taking? Is there a system to write jokes or something?
No, it's I'll tell you what. There's this guy, Des McLean, he's a professional comic in Scotland, which is where I live. I'm from Northern Ireland. Well, God, it's confusing. I was born in Glasgow. I was raised in Northern Ireland, which is a place called Larne, and then or Machramorn, and then I moved back to Scotland as an adult. So,
Right.
but
So you're in Glasgow now?
I'm Edinburgh now. Actually, my
Oh,
dad lives just outside Edinburgh. My dad's
okay.
Scottish. My mom's Irish. So
Okay.
I'm perfect as split down the middle as it's possible to be.
All right.
um, but this guy's he's a professional in Scotland, and he's been doing these since before lockdown. These like it's a 6 week course that I feel like I'm advertising for him now. It's weird.
Oh, it's good. It's good though because I give lessons in the Greg Dean School of stand up, and it's like there's all these systems to write jokes and everything. So now that
Oh,
you're in someone's class, like I'm wondering how it is.
oh, you're trying to compare notes? Okay, that's fine.
No, to comparing to see how you can how it works really.
Des is quite a specific thing. So the way it works is it's a 6 week course, and at the end of it, you do a showcase gig,
Right.
and you're supposed to. It's the I guess the lessons are for anyone, but it's sort of you go in with material. So I've been going for a few years now. I've got I don't know somewhere anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes um, of what I consider more solid stuff, but you give him like he asks you what you're comfortable doing. So I said, well, 10. Like I could rattle off a 10 right now. And he was like, okay, well then do that. So he just made me do my 10. And then what he does is he writes down like all your punchlines, all your feeds, all your setups, and then he tries to figure out how to make your set the best it could be. So like he didn't tell me names, and I wouldn't want to say names, but he said he's had people come in with 12 minutes, give him 12 minutes, and then he's cut it down to 4.
Sure, well, that's yes.
You got to trim all the fat. Luckily for me, he actually didn't he didn't remove any jokes out of my set. He's just the problem with Zoom gigs I find is that people always think everything's great because no one wants to be mean.
Sure.
So you never
like a group. It's a group thing, or it's like a one-on-one.
Oh well, this is one-on-one. These are one-on-one.
Oh yeah, it's all one-on-one. All right, okay.
So, but what I like is like harsh feedback, and people don't often give that on Zoom. People will do it more often. Like crowds will laugh or they won't laugh, but on Zoom gigs, it's hard to test material. I find. So I gave new material to him, and he really liked it. So he ended up not cutting anything out of mine. He's just trying to work on like the order. So a lot of my stuff is quite dark. So I have a joke, maybe 3 jokes into the set, which is about my dad being an alcoholic, and. Sorry if you're watching, Dad.
That's all right. Well, my dad is an alcoholic, so that's fine. Who cares?
Yeah, three jokes in, I've got a joke about that, and he's like, well, maybe just space that out a bit further into the set. Like it's fine to have jokes like that, just maybe not in the first minute, And like as I say, my punchlines are pretty tight together, so just stuff like that. But what I do have to say about him is he is so excited to talk about material. That is what I love about it, because I imagine the amount of years that he's been doing it, he might have become like jaded or like disinterested in it. But he is like, let's talk about comedy right now.
Oh yeah.
Really into it, and it's contagious, because I find whenever I'm done with them, I have a writing group I meet up. That's on a Tuesday, and I have a writing group I meet up with on a Wednesday. Sort of gets me in the mood to write some stuff, which is good.
Yeah,
but
that's really cool. We'll put links. We'll put a link to him on the comments on the description of the video. If you all right. So
I'll be okay with that. But yeah,
Let's say, oh crap, student. No. I've never seen this.
I don't want. Yeah, life. You don't associate me with your name ever.
Crap student. Anyway, and his dad is an alcoholic. Fuck me. What do I have to do? And it is. When you're passionate about comedy, I decided not long ago. So, well, from now on, all I'm going to do is either read, write, perform, or talk about comedy. Yeah. That's because when. And sometimes 3 people, 4, 5, 6 people looking at one joke, say, maybe this is not good, or maybe how about if you said it? And it's a really great time, and like when you're imagining a world with no rules, just like like Billy Connolly, the lady, the bus joke where the bus goes off the back, and she. That's amazing. And so okay. And then
my favorite part of that is she running still?
You don't know. But that's the thing. Like possibilities are endless. And you go, like, oh, is she running? Did she flap her wings? Or
Oh, it's such a good that is one of the best pieces of material I've ever. I remember the first time I heard that, I broke down. I had to pause the stand up and just laugh. It was incredible.
That's great. I did one. He does another bit. It's about the dwarf in the bus. There's the dwarf in the bus, and the dwarf is being rude.
Sure.
To everybody, because some people want to give him the seat or to give her the seat. I don't remember if it's a man or woman. Sure. And then, I don't want to spoil it for you, but anyway, it builds up a lot of tension, and then in the end, he just explodes. And I did the same joke to a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Of course, they were disappointed with the ending of it. But it's like you enjoy it because you're not saying anything funny for 5 minutes.
It's the journey.
But you're building tension into people, and then, of course, when Billy does it,
he's a master. That's like a Shaggy Dog story. Whenever you build and build and build and build, and then the payoff's like the payoff almost makes you retroactively look back at the build and enjoy it. It's weird.
Yeah.
what was the other joke
yeah.
that does that? The Aristocrats. That's a very
Oh yeah. That's a
yeah.
great joke.
But it's obviously the joke is the horrendous content.
Oh man.
I think I've only ever seen George Carlin actually perform that joke. That's
It's one of my first experiences with comedy was that
really
joke. Yeah, in the sense that I was with my brother and a couple of girls. I think we were going to have a video session at my place. I went to the rental shop and said, "Well, I like comedies. Let's see." I like Monty Python and stuff, and I saw this VHS like Laugh Until It Hurts. I said, "Oh." That sounds like a good idea. Let's laugh until it hurts. So I get that, and it was the Aristocrats. I said, okay, well, but I didn't really pay attention to whatever it was. Really, laugh until it hurts. That must be good. So I go back home. Everybody's there, popcorn, ready for the movie session. I put it into the thing, and it's just each comic's rendition of the Aristocrats joke. So it's the same joke, like 6, 7, or 8, 9, 10 times. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And then they all start with the same. Hey, we have a new act and everything. So what is it? And then once the first one, you say, okay, this is weird. And then the second, and when you understand what it is, the exercise it is. Man, it did hurt. But I was the only one. I was like, "Oh man, stop it, no!" And then there's Gottfried. It talks like that. Gottfried does it. Oh,
I've heard his
of. Oh yeah.
Lumberjack. He talks about lumberjack fists and all.
Yeah. And I ate a lot of corn so that it doesn't get digested. And you go, oh man,
that's it.
Fist fucking the dog. And everybody was like, what the fuck is this? And then you, like, with the twisted comedic mind, you're laughing your ass off because you love it.
Yeah. And I got that dark sense of humor too. I mean, stuff like that, horrendous imagery. I remember, it's just I almost love anti-joke punchlines. I don't use them because they don't work. I've got like a crossover between I love doing one-liners, and some of them are a bit out there, but sometimes I just find a line that's like so bad that I can't use it. But so that writing group I'm in on a Wednesday, someone was delivering new material to us. So that's how it works. They give us new material, and then we wait to the end, and then we say what we would change and stuff. And one of the things I do, because I'm a one-liner comic, is I just suggest alternative punchlines for jokes. And she delivered a joke. She was like talking about babies, and she said, when does a baby stop being a baby? Is it when they get a job? And at the end I said, I've got an alternative punchline for you that you won't use and that nobody should use, but when does a baby stop being a baby? When it runs out of blood. And everyone was like, oh my god. Like, it's not even a punchline. It's stupid, but it's horrendous. I love stuff like that, and the Aristocrats tickles that a little bit just because of how terrible it is.
Yeah.
You say you run your own comedy in France. How long have you been doing that now?
Well, I started doing comedy a little over a year ago as well, and I started writing on Fiverr and stuff, and so yeah. But here, there was no options. There are no options for people to do comedy, so you have to. So I created a Facebook page, and now it's an association now, and we just have to just say, okay, do you want a comedy in your pub or whatever? And they go, yeah. So you bought all the speakers and stuff. So you come in and you put everything together with the mic, and we have lights and stuff, and you do a show there. It's perfectly illegal, but it doesn't have.
A warning come across the top of the screen. This is all perfectly legal.
Exactly. This is just a guy with some gear in a pub talking, and then people will put money in the hats. How does it work there in where
Scotland.
You live? Do you get paid or something?
Scotland's got we have the Fringe here, which is like biggest, one of the biggest or the biggest sort of arts festival in the world, and stand-up, there's like 500 stand-up shows there. I mean, last year, because of COVID, the Fringe got cancelled. This year got cancelled as well. I was actually, annoyingly, last year was supposed to be my first year at the Fringe as part of, remember I said I did the roast battle? I was supposed to be doing a roast battle at the Fringe, which would have been amazing, but it got cancelled, didn't it? But yeah, comedy here works largely the same. I've got a buddy who runs a comedy club in Dundee called The Icebreaker. It's really good. It's where I started. It's where my first gig was. And he runs it very well. And it's sort of a similar situation where he just says to pubs and then they get him to set up in there. And it's changed location a number of times because I can't remember the first place, which I won't name, but I think they fell out basically. The second place, the pub shut down. The pub doesn't exist anymore. And then COVID hit. And so now we just, I'm just.
But how does it work? Do you have to get paid for gigs? Do you get people?
Some gigs. Yeah. So it depends. It depends if it's an open spot. Like I'm sure it's a similar situation in France. If there's an open spot, it's an open spot, and you're just there to test material. A headliner spot tends to always get paid. I've only headlined Zoom shows. I haven't headlined. In Scotland, there's like a culture of earning your place, I guess, where you sort of have to have been going for a certain amount of time and have consistency in between all the people, and then there's also relationships with promoters and stuff. It's complex, but I've been paid for a few shows because some people just like to pay their acts. Some people, one of the things people will do is they won't charge for the show, but they'll say once you're in that you don't have to pay to get in, but you have to pay to get out. So they get like a donation bucket at the exit. You throw your money in, and then they take a cut for themselves and they divvy the rest up between the acts that we're on. But I've been paid for some Zoom shows, but if I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of the format. I don't like
it's weird
not having a crowd. I miss heckles. I miss dealing with hecklers. I miss talking to people, and I miss really feeling like material's being tested. Because if something doesn't work 3 times, it's fine. But everything works on Zoom because everyone is polite.
Or nothing works on Zoom because the time you say you deliver your joke, the time it gets to people, the time they laugh, the time it gets back to you, it's 3:30, and you have to pick up your kids from school, and you go, they're laughing. What the fuck is going on? And
the delay, I think, creates a disconnect between the stage and the audience that you just don't get with live stuff. And like, my style is one-liners, and like I said, and the way a lot of them work is sometimes I'll do a one-liner, even like I'll do a one-liner on stage, and maybe it's like too surreal or it's too weird, or maybe it's just not funny and the crowd doesn't laugh. And I train myself to get used to the silence after a one-liner in case people don't get it or it's a slow burner or whatever. And that's okay for my style of comedy because there'll be another one-liner coming in a second. And if you don't laugh at that one, you'll laugh at this one. It's like a selection box But with Zoom, it's every joke. Every single joke is just the silence. And some people, like my pacing, I think is okay. But some people, if they don't get that laugh, they speed up. And I don't necessarily have done any Zoom shows with people like this, but I have seen Zoom shows where people, because they're not getting that response, just they do it like a 10-minute set in 6 minutes or 7 minutes, and because they're not used to leaving the space, and it can be a difficult format, I think, especially for bits. Like rather than one-liners, easy because it's just feed line, punchline, laugh, feed line, punchline, laugh. But with bits that have the humor comes from emphasis and stress on different words and stuff, it can get lost, I think.
Everybody's looking at themselves and seeing if someone else is picking their nose, and watching their phone and ordering pizza at the same time. So it's kind of
or maybe they've even got it on their phone while they're like playing a video game, or Which I'll admit I've done.
Exactly. And sometimes someone laughs, someone says a joke, and you go just to encourage them. It's like fake moaning during sex, like
I do that all the time.
Boy. Oh, you're a big boy. Oh, go on.
What is that voice?
I'm not your mother. You can start fucking. It can be discouraging. You say, So yeah, I wanted to ruin myself and try and go to the Fringe, like and put up a show there or something. I don't know. I was like,
you absolutely should. The only problem with, well, not the problem, but the thing about the Fringe is like it's pretty much accepted that the first probably 2 or 3 times, that maybe even more, that you do the Fringe, you will lose money because it costs money to perform at the Fringe. Basically, I wouldn't have cost me because I was invited by someone to be on their show, and that's great because what is it? Remember, Bill Burr said you don't want to be the person that owns the boat. You want to be the person that shows up with the 6-pack.
Exactly.
So it's okay if you're invited onto someone's boat, but if you're sailing the boat, oh boy, you're gonna have to pay money and stuff. And it's worth it because it's the Fringe. I mean, you can say in 10 years, I performed at the Fringe or whatever, but it's
every autobiography you read, like Eddie Izzard and Stephen Fry.
Those
people, they go, oh yeah, I just totally ruined myself at the Fringe for a few years, and say, hey, that's a badge of honor. And just go there and waste money just to say, I've performed at the Fringe. So failure.
You're literally paying for the life experience, because I think Stephen Fry and all them, they went as part of the Oxford or Cambridge Review, Footlights. Yes, exactly. Footlights Review. That's what I was thinking of. And that's with the likes of Rowan Atkinson and all that lot.
They had money. They had money already to go. So that's
they had the university.
It's funny because I think it was. Eddie Izzard was going at the same time as Stephen Fry, I think, roughly at the same time. And it's 2 completely different stories. Like Stephen Fry, he was just there, and let's go. Okay. We have the I think it was Cambridge or Oxford. I don't remember. I think Cambridge.
He was
Cambridge. Oh, they had money. So all right, let's go. So no problem. And Eddie Izzard had to go hitchhike and do all kinds of crazy things, and then he lost, and then so it's like all really discouraging.
That is the thing. If you were at Cambridge Footlights, you really just had access to any aspect of comedy. Like you still can. I mean, David Mitchell, I don't know if you know David Mitchell and Robert Webb. No. Well, they did a sketch show called That Mitchell and Webb Look, and that came off the back of them being in the Footlights. Footlights was just it was like a leg up on everything in comedy.
Yeah, well, you still have to be funny. That's the thing, you get more opportunities.
There is that prerequisite, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Still not funny. So but I was in the Footlights. I don't get it. You're still not funny.
Do you know what I learned about Hugh Laurie that shocked me? So obviously him and Stephen Fry were at university. Stephen Fry at university studied English literature. Guess what Hugh Laurie studied? He studied archaeology. And he got a 3rd, and he says that you know more about archaeology than him. Because he only went to uni. His father was an Olympic gold medalist rower. And he went to university to row, but he got I think it was glandular fever. And couldn't do it anymore, so joined the Footlights and did archaeology.
There you go. Yeah.
What a strange topic.
What have you got there? Archaeology. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Insane.
I was into archaeology, but the downstairs neighbors didn't appreciate it. That's a stupid joke.
Yeah, dinosaur bones under the floorboards.
Found my downstairs neighbors. Anyway, so that's cool. So who's your favorite comedian? Do you have one?
It's a tough one. I've probably got a few. I mean, every
top 5.
Top 5. Okay, every comedian has loads. I think. I mean, I really like Scottish comedy. So Billy Connolly's up there, right? George Carlin's probably up there as well. I love George Carlin.
Frankie Boyle is Frankie Boyle.
Frankie Boyle is a Scottish comedian. He's offensive comedy, very, very harsh stuff, close to the knuckle, we'd say.
Okay.
There's a comedian, we'll count it as one, but it's a comedy duo in Japan called the Downtown, or the names of the people are a guy called Matsumoto Hitoshi and another fellow called Hamada Masatoshi. And they're a manzai duo. In Japan, their comedy is very, very disciplined and structured, as you might expect of Japanese culture. But it's called the Bokeh and Sukomi, so it's kind of like straight man, funny man, you know.
Right.
So one of them, Matsumoto, who they call the god of laughter in Japan, is
Wow.
he's the Bokeh or the idiot, and then Matsumoto is the Sukomi and or the straight man, and it's like a comedy that works off of the idiot saying dumb things and the straight man correcting him or hitting him, and like
Right.
a lot of physical comedy, so a lot of strikes and stuff as well. But
Right.
some of the bits he does, the way he thinks is so surreal. It's kind of like
It's in Japanese.
Japanese, yeah. It's in
Wow.
Japanese. I don't speak it, but people have very kindly subtitled it, and it's very funny.
All right.
But yeah, it's really good. And I'm trying to think of my that's four.
Yeah.
Who have we got? I suppose Sarah Pascoe. She's a English comedian. She's very good, very funny. Really, really good setups. I think, or the way she structures her jokes is great. She's got a joke where she says, she sent she wrote a message to her friend about how she's apologizing that whenever they were younger, her friend used to go and basically prostitute herself, that someone would give them cocaine. And she basically said, I wrote to her to say, she explained all of this. She's like, I can't believe that I did this to you. I felt like a terrible friend, and I'd just like to apologize. And she said, I left it 3 days. She didn't respond, and then she deleted it off her wall. Like on her posters as a public post. Ridiculous.
All right, okay. Okay. Get it. I get it. Yeah. That's a funny one.
What would you say your favorite comedians are?
Wow. Well, Carlin is up there. Eddie Izzard is up there. Who else? Carlin, Izzard.
Izzard's good. Izzard's quite surreal. I like surreal stuff.
Yeah. He's I like it. Oh yeah, I like. And now you talk about that girl, so I start thinking about Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman's good, yeah.
Start thinking about her and all the weird kind of jokes he does in that same sense.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard
Eddie
in
Murphy.
years.
Yeah. Richard Pryor, of course. Richard Pryor.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is there, and I don't know. Well, some of the shows that actually marked me. Bill Cosby, he did some good stuff.
Yeah, and then he did all that bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was, and of course Louis C.K. did great stuff.
I mean,
while jacking off in front of people. That's nice. A comedian.
I do, as you say. I mean, I do remember, obviously, before we knew about Bill Cosby and stuff. I do remember watching some of his shows and being blown away. He was an excellent raconteur, great at storytelling, but unfortunately, also a very, very, very horrible and reprehensible man.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
So yeah, that's the thing. Now I'm guilty of laughing at your shit.
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Cosby.
I've been enjoying that for years, and
yeah,
all this, you prick.
Now it's a guilty pleasure. Oh man, now I can't even say it anymore. That's a funny
you can't reference it. Oh no. It's the same with like Kevin Spacey. I really liked House of Cards.
I really like Kevin Spacey still. It's like, oh man, that's a weird thing. Like, someone fucks up in a way, then that's because they are.
I mean, I would go as far to say he was my favorite actor, or the work that he's done is my favorite of almost any actor. But at the same time, it's like whenever your heroes are horrible people.
That's the thing. But when you think about it, it's kind of it's as if people's professional lives and being an artist kind of belongs to the audience, and it doesn't. If a surgeon is a horrible person, and if he does open heart surgery on you and saves your life, you say, oh, that bastard, he was touching the nurse's ass. You go, well, and no one would go, oh, this surgeon, he abused people. And of course, if you get punished by the law, I don't think people would say, oh, he shouldn't be operating on people anymore. And that's like surgeon. If you're a bus driver, saying if you do that, the people, oh, you should be driving buses anymore. What's that? Or people
Yeah.
wouldn't go on the same bus, on your bus.
Yeah.
But if you're a public figure, if you're an artist or an actor or director or something, it's like people own your life, which is
Yeah.
weird in a way, because other people, you don't care. So
Well, I mean, it doesn't always apply through. I mean, obviously, if someone should be in jail, then they shouldn't be doing an open heart surgery.
yeah,
or
exactly. They should be in jail.
But yeah, if what they've done is criminal. But the likes of, Michael Jackson. I mean, millions of people still enjoy Michael Jackson's music because there's that thing where people say, in the case, I think I can't remember who I'm quoting here, but in the case of genius, you have to separate the art from the artist. That's a quote, and I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Russell Brand, but
Yeah.
it's like R. Kelly or Michael Jackson. No, well, obviously, with Michael Jackson, they never proved anything, but R. Kelly, oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
they found stuff. They found a bunch of stuff and it was a creep anyway. But they found a bunch of stuff after he died in the mansion and whatever.
Oh, did they?
But that's the thing. That's the
not-
thing. I still enjoy, as well, the few songs I enjoy of Michael Jackson. Because they were like, they marked my childhood. I still enjoy them every single bit as much as before. I didn't think, oh, this guy's a pedophile. So if you put black and white loud on the speakers, I'll go and it's like a hypocrite kind of thing, because
obviously you don't condone anything that he did. Not anything that he did. You don't condone any of the negative things that he did, but the music's still great. Like R. Kelly, Ignition is still a great song, but
yeah.
Jesus, that documentary was wild. It was really bad, Surviving R. Kelly. It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to know at what point is it no longer okay to enjoy the work that they produced. I mean, well,
if you think about it, nobody would be a Catholic anymore.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So well, it did burn a bunch of people. They weren't real Catholics. Fuck off. What do you mean they weren't real Catholics? Of course they were. I'm from Portugal. My hometown used to burn people, and make them walk around and then burn them and stuff. And that was the Catholic Church. There was nobody else.
Yeah.
So, but thinking about that, there's the latest Louis C.K. special where he talks about.
I haven't seen it, but
yeah, it's on his website. I think you have to buy it from him.
Okay.
That's how punished he is.
You have to put the money in.
Give me the fucking money. No, Netflix. And he talks about it, and he goes, "Yeah, well, I have my thing. I like to jack off in front of people, but that's my. But imagine being in a room filled with people who know what your kind of kink is and what turns you on and whatever. How embarrassing that is. That everybody. And he says Barack Obama knows I like to jack off in front of people, and he doesn't know anything about anyone else. So it's kind of, and the guy from Parks and Recreation, he did more or less the same thing. He was accused of.
Oh really? Which one? Was that Aziz Ansari?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started a show saying that he learned his lesson, whatever. And but yeah, so it's kind of, and being a stand-up is hard, because if it's you out there, it's not, if you're an actor and you're doing a movie, then that's one thing. Polanski, whatever, if you're doing it, you're a director, but as a stand-up and being an artist that is supposed to be awake and aware of what's going on and having a critical view of the world and everything, you can't not address it, and it's you have to be lucid about it, and it's it takes courage.
Yeah.
After a while. Yeah. Anyway, do you jack off in front of people? Do you put roofies on people's drinks?
Not the roofies in people's drinks. Sometimes jack off while looking out my window.
Jack out.
I jack out. Jack out. Oh boy, that sounds painful.
I don't jack up.
I don't jack off. I jack up.
Hey neighbor. I'm jack.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't jack off in front of anybody, really. not
man.
not so much.
You're not known enough. You need, you know, you have a career when you start, fingering people and doing that kind of thing.
I've always wondered though, like with like a lot of people like that, not even like people that are doing stuff that's like criminal, although people that are doing stuff that's criminal too, but I've always wondered what it is like when people, I presume early in their life, whenever they weren't successful, they obviously maybe had these kinks or whatever, or were criminal or whatever. But how is it that it's only whenever they get power that they feel like that they should start acting on it? Because like sure, that is the point where you have power, and in the case of like Harvey Weinstein and people like that, he really could abuse that power. But that also means that you have the most to lose. Obviously, you shouldn't do it because it's terrible and it's a horrible thing to do, and it's awful. But also, you've got a lot to lose. Why would you like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He cheated on his wife with his maid, right, or whatever. Or was she a babysitter? Maybe she wasn't. I think she was his babysitter. He cheated on his wife, but like, why did he think he wasn't going to get caught? Like,
exactly,
lose half of all his stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things. You think in what how should I say, what kind of future did you imagine that was a good idea?
Exactly.
It's like, I'm gonna screw this one, and he or she won't say anything, and I'll be fine. It's just between us. And I have shitloads of money, like John Cleese with his divorce.
Oh yeah,
I'm loaded with money, and no, this person, no, let's be all right. No, I trust, I trust him, I trust her. No problem. There's no book deal coming for this person. No,
yeah, it's
weird.
like it's strange that some people in that position use their power to leverage stuff out of people, but they never think that that it's so easy to sell an idea about someone like that, and if it also happens to be true, then holy shit, they're going down. Like
exactly,
because of the way the media's gone now. It must be pretty easy to like get someone interested in something that's happened like that. It must be like the channels must be incredibly open, just because there's so much profit to be made in the media around it.
Exactly. So yeah, it is kind of lonely in a way that if you're famous, whatever, and you never know if someone is coming to fuck you or to fuck you. You never know. Are you here to fuck me
in italics?
To fuck me? Exactly. Yeah, because not too interesting in that kind of fucking, because you kind of you can lose. Yeah, that's but you get, I think, the adrenaline or the risk of it or something, or getting away with stuff. It's and some people are sick. If they are sick, they will do whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
well, yeah, it's something. Yeah, obviously, on this, I'm more talking about like cheating on their wife or doing stuff that's non-criminal. The people that are doing stuff that's like Bill Cosby, that's just, I mean, that's another thing entirely. I mean, there's no really understanding the motivations behind that. I mean, just it's too much. It's too much to even.
It's like the Eddie Izzard joke. Like when you kill someone, you go to jail. If you kill 10
exactly.
people,
like, that's a criminal action, not it's not a moral like dilemma. It's just a criminal action.
So if you kill 10 people, they put you in a padded room with a straight jacket. If you kill, like you're Stalin, you kill 100 million people, they go, wow. How do you get organized? Must be very busy.
There's that old Eddie Izzard bit where it's like your diary must be very full.
Yeah, very full.
Very early in the morning.
Death. Cookies, tea, death, lunch, Pilates, death. So yeah, exactly. So if you go completely crazy, yeah.
Oh, do you remember? This is out of nowhere, but I'm just remember. Do you remember the? Actually, come to think of it, Eddie Izzard's now using feminine pronouns. So she, whenever Eddie Izzard whenever she did the 50 marathons in 52 or 53 days, something like that.
That's really cool, by the way, talking about Eddie Izzard and using feminine pronouns. I thought about it when I saw that she wanted that. Now, how can I show my support for her I need to talk about her to people, because even if you talk to her, say, hey Eddie, how is it going? How are you? You can't talking to her. You
Yeah,
can't show her.
you need to speak. You need to refer. You need to refer to somebody else, because she to
front
her
of her
face would be rude.
This is
Yeah,
my friend Ezzy Izzard. She is delighted to meet you.
yeah. I remember whenever that happened, though. Originally, the marathons. My friend is a personal trainer back in Ireland, and whenever that happened, the marathons, he was in college learning. He was getting his qualifications to be a PT, and he asked his teacher about how someone would train for that, like, because whenever she did it, Eddie was like overweight. Really, I mean, let's face it, they were just not ready for running, and he asked his teacher, like, how'd you train for that? And the teacher flat out told him it's impossible. Like, that, by all accounts, that like task was completely impossible, like physically. And the only way that Eddie managed it was by running on pure willpower. And not even endurance, the body can't take it, just pure mental fortitude. And whenever they did the documentary on it, I remember watching it and just thinking, holy shit. Like,
right.
How
I can't get off my ass
that?
to go down. I can't get off my ass to go down to the shop. And she does 50. She did 32 marathons now in January.
But I would add that she is a lot fitter now than she was back then.
Yeah.
Back then, that, like, just unbelievable. Because I remember whenever it was like at the number 45, her body shape had gotten so strange, because she was still looked kind of overweight on the top, but the bottom was like made of iron. Just the legs were just completely like a Gru from Despicable Me.
Yeah.
And on the bottom, big on the top,
with lipstick, just like with lipstick.
And what amazed me was one of them. She was running and she stops and gets an ice cream, and she just gets back to running while eating an ice cream. Absolutely amazing. I remember, or I looked up actually before we did the show. Obviously, I didn't want to go in blind, and I had a look at some of the ones I saw. You did a 70-day fast. Was this last year?
Oh yeah. This was last year. Yeah.
I watched it.
I'm going to do it again because I put the weight back up.
Must be the third time, isn't it? Because you said in the first video that it was the second time you'd done it.
Yeah. Because sometimes you get into a really funny mental state, which is the first time I became like a guru. Like, oh, you also.
You actually began to levitate at one point.
Exactly, but you're a lot less funny than what you are usually, and you just bore the shit out of people. Not as in trying to preach or anything, but just you're so calm, and things are not as hard or as easy as they seem.
There's
like
no
Russell Brand. Like, you just become like Russell Brand. Doing little podcasts everywhere you go, and the second time, it was actually cool, and I didn't feel bad at all, and I was doing stuff. So I'd have to get motivated to do it again. Because
what were you drinking, man? Because you said you were having fruit juice, but like, I feel like
you can if you watch the documentary Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched
it. Yeah, watch it. It's there's two. There's and it's amazing. You go, wow. And it's where it all came from. Then I realized that the juice thing is just a way of getting minerals and vitamins into your body, keeping the fasting state of your brain, that your brain thinks it's fasting, because when you eat, your brain says, oh, there's food. So 2 hours later, it goes, oh, let's eat again, because the food is available. Whereas when you don't eat, after a couple of days, or 4 days, you're not hungry at all, because the brain goes, okay, there's no food, and it turns off hunger.
What's it like after the 70 days? What's it like getting back into eating food again? That must be tough.
Yeah, at certain points you start to think about what kind of stuff you will eat when you start eating again, and
I imagine the first time
eating
that you ate something with oil in it, after all of that, you destroyed your bathroom.
No, but I did destroy bathrooms at a certain point. I would fast for a week. And I go, oh yeah, let's have a pizza. Oh man, and the next day, hey, There you go. So you make your ass work extra hard.
Yeah, I bet.
For all the rest gets during the rest of the week. So yeah, but it is really cool. It is really cool to do. And of course, I did videos in the languages I speak, but the English videos weren't that long because nobody cares. Whereas the Spanish, I shared it on Facebook, and the Spanish community, Spanish speaking community, what they were all into it. So they're a lot more,
okay.
yeah,
More of a health kick.
yeah.
What was I going to say? I saw you've done a couple of shows with people that I have met through comedy. Actually, Michael Monkhouse and Lubna Kerr. I've done a couple of shows.
You met him personally or on Zoom?
Well, him on Zoom. Lubna I'd met at I think a gig called Mirth Meltdown in Edinburgh, which runs before lockdown. It ran every Tuesday and Thursday, and it was one of these shows where it was it's so good. You go down an hour before the show starts, and there's a book, and you put your name in the book, and they guarantee that if your name is in the book, you go on stage that night. And this means that if 4 people sign up, the show is 4 acts long and only lasts 20 minutes. But if 20 people sign up, it goes to about 2 or 3 in the morning.
All right.
It's incredible. That's how Scotland sort of is for comedy. They just love it. And literally, if you go there and there's not enough people in the crowd, the people that run it will hand you like leaflets and put you out in the street and be like, get some people in.
All right. I'm dying to go there. I went to Edinburgh and Glasgow before COVID, and it's silly because now I have 2 more reasons to. And I was working with a coach as well, like putting comedy into his thing.
Sure.
And Lubna, that was funny, like because I love your accent and talking to, because I always love Billy Connolly, so I feel like talking to him. But talking to Lubna, it was funny because she has this Pakistani look, and Pakistani look with a Scottish accent. That's like one of the most exotic things I've ever seen. So you're just this is great.
Yeah. I've always loved that as well. Especially what I really love. One of the things is hybrid accents. So I remember there's a show that used to run on in Scotland. It's still on every now and again, but it's called Chewing the Fat, and it's a sketch show. And there was a sketch about an Italian barber who'd opened in Glasgow, but the man moved from Italy I think the implication was that the man had moved to Glasgow from Italy when he was a teenager, so he had about as much Scottish on his voice as he did Italian, and it's so funny. Like the way it was played was brilliant, because it was the sketch idea was that his daughter had opened a salon in Glasgow, a hair salon, but he was a barber for men that liked, read car magazines and So a woman comes in and she's asking for all this stuff with her hair, and he goes in and gets a razor and shaves her hair off and then hands her a condom. But I love those accents where it's like a mix of 2 really, really broad accents, because you can really hear both, and it sounds amazing. I love it. But you get a lot of that in Scotland, because there's a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants, a lot of whatever, and Scotland's, particularly Edinburgh as well, has so many different cultures in it, and it's great. I love being in a city like that. It's amazing. So hearing just all the different accents mixed with Scottish is brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. It's just I love it too. Like just being able to understand the Scottish accent, that's already really cool. And then if you can recognize something else, it's really satisfying. It is satisfying because yes, it's cool.
How long ago was it you were last in Scotland?
I think it was there was a big demonstration that day, for the independence or something. So it was before COVID. COVID was like March. I think this was like October or something before.
Okay.
And we were in Edinburgh where there was that big demonstration. So that was really funny. Everybody going up the castle with their flags and everything.
The Royal Mile. That's actually not far from me. I live in Haymarket, which is sort of, if you walked out of my house and turned right and just kept walking, you'd end up on
Right.
Princess Street,
All right.
which is where the big Scott monument that looks like this, like Sauron's tower. That's where it is. And then if you go across the bridge, you'd be on the Royal Mile, which leads up to the castle. So
Right.
I'm very close to all that. But
Cool.
Edinburgh's a beautiful city to look at. I've always really liked it.
Yeah,
But
it is very cool.
Glasgow is funnier. Glasgow's
Yeah, I
not
went to
a place to look
Glasgow,
at.
but I don't remember Glasgow that well. I don't know what we did in Glasgow. Anyway, it was. Yeah, I think
Usually, if you spend time in Glasgow and you can't remember the time that you spent in Glasgow, it means that you had a good time in Glasgow.
yeah, we did have a good time. It was cool. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Glasgow's
and,
nightlife is much better than Edinburgh's. It's pretty mad over there. But yeah, comedy crowds in Glasgow love dark stuff. So, like I said, I do a lot of dark material, and that has worked best in Glasgow. I've done it all over, but Glasgow crowds love it, and Glasgow crowds love being insulted. They love. They're really rowdy crowds. They're not the rowdiest crowds. I had a crowd. There's a town called Dunfermline in Scotland, and there's a guy that runs a show there. And I've only ever done the show once because I wanted to do it more, but there was lockdown. But also, it didn't go so good. So the way the gig was structured was there was like the stage on one side of the room, and normally pubs, as you know, normally pubs will like have an area for the stage and the crowd, and then the bar won't be open in that area. It'll be like another bar like downstairs or something. But the bar was open, and there was music playing at the bar. So there's like music playing, and there's comedy over here, and there's people in the crowd who mostly like are just there because the acts have invited them, and then there's people who are just having a drink and getting really drunk. And if you spent much time in Scotland, you know we like to get really fucking drunk. And one of the things they decided to do, the compere who was on the MC, someone offered him a shot in the crowd, so he was like, okay, I'll take a shot, and he had a shot, and then he ripped the piss out of the guy. He insulted the guy that gave him the shot just as part of the show, and the guy was about to glass him, which is, you know, smashing a glass and stabbing him with it. And like, it was one of the craziest. We call that a bear pit in Glasgow if it's a place where everyone's really, or not in Glasgow, in Scotland. And I remember I'd already done my set, which didn't go down well because no one could hear me because there was music playing. And I got off. Everyone bombed that night. It was just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb because the crowd didn't want to hear comedy. And then it got violent, and that's when I was just like, this is insane. I've got to leave. Yeah. So I had to leave. But like, that's the rowdiest crowd I've ever been a part of. Normally people will shout out, and I quite like interacting with that. But if someone's literally, his friends are holding him back and he's trying to fight you, that's not so good.
You know, I love stand-up, but not that much. You know,
I'm not willing to.
As much as a scar going from here to here would be very flattering for my career, I would rather not. Yeah, here it's when we do comedy here. Sometimes, well, some places are good for comedy, some others are, some aren't. And we did a few shows in a place that is really not fit for comedy. Between the kitchen and the room, so you're there with your microphone and people coming next to you serving with food. And I think I have it on YouTube, one bit, and you know, you're just talking, and people, you know, the waiters come to take the orders, and they're in front of you, and nobody can see you, and they're talking, and people from the kitchen, and it
sounds like a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it's a nightmare, because if you respect yourself, you won't do it. You just fuck off and say, well, you know, you're not ready for comedy. Oh, you're not ready for my art, and you just fuck off. Or, you know, if you have your text, and that was like out of body experience, because a bunch of comedians, they know their text word for word, so they just go and just say the text. And when you look at them, so do you really not see that there are children running around you and shouting, and they carry on with their jokes? And she said, "Hey, that's my dick."
What I would have done was try and steal food off plates while I was doing my set. Just try and like grab a chicken.
Yeah, I did that the first 4 times. I was like pretending to do something, but absolutely, like, it's an old gag, and yeah. So, but it is fun. It's fun because nobody cares. People in the audience, they don't care. They go, "Oh, so Oh, there's
I
some
mean,
comedy
they'll forget
clubs.
about the night. As soon as they've ate their dessert, they'll forget about it.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing. People don't care; they forget.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, I'm really looking forward to coming back to Edinburgh.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
too stuff anymore, and yeah, and I don't know how would you recommend me to do? I want to do a tour, like just, otherwise you have
A
to.
tour of like of comedy or a tour of
No, it's a comedy. I don't go sightseeing.
yeah,
Like
care about that either. Well, if it's just I mean, I'm not even sure after lockdown. I'm not even sure what's going to still be alive. But
sure.
if we took a snapshot of Scotland before, there's loads of great gigs. I mean, Scotland has got such comedies like just part of the culture over here. Everyone
Right.
loves comedy. Everyone's up for a laugh.
Right.
But in Edinburgh, the open spots that you'd be able to get on pretty easily. There's Mirth Meltdown, as I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
It was in a place called 52 Canoes. I think I walked past that bar recently, and I think it might be shut down. I'm not sure though.
Right.
But yeah, it was a great little gig. There's also Christ, oh God, now that I've started naming places, and if I forget places, that's bad.
All the places are great, but imagine.
Yeah, I'm just
because I have my idea was like, okay, well, I created a comedy club, so now I'm thinking, well, if I'm doing these sets with a whole bunch of comedians, I'll be good at doing sets with a whole bunch of comedians. But what you really want as a comedian is to have your own show, like your own hour or whatever,
Sure.
and you share the stage because you have to, not because you want to. So my idea was like, okay, can I book a theater somewhere and just advertise and trying to and bully people into coming to see me? A bit like the Fringe, but all the time and everywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm actually not sure. I don't know. I'm sure it would cost a lot of money to like book out theaters for a certain amount of nights, and then you got to try and make sure that the cost of tickets covers the
yeah,
cost.
but it can be a theater, it can be just a room, it can be a place that doesn't have comedy, it
Oh,
can be
okay. Well, there's
whatever, like
pubs everywhere over here. Mostly pubs, universities, places like that. They love comedy. They love hosting comedy. Some you can get restaurants that have performance areas. Um, there's places all over. Glasgow, Edinburgh be full of them. There's some even, St Andrews, Dundee, which is where I started. Um, there's no shortage of venues in Scotland. Well, I
right,
mean, again, after COVID, I don't know because a lot of
yeah,
places are shutting down because
right,
but and also for whatever reason I don't know if it's the case anymore, but they weren't counting they weren't counting stand-up comedy as an art form, which means that it wasn't getting funding from the government, like where galleries and museums would, and maybe comedy clubs wouldn't, and so a lot of them
sure,
started to face doom really after COVID, which sucked really bad because those are the places that you go to hone your craft. You have to test stuff, you have to work on your stage presence, all that. But man, there's so many places that there's open mic gigs to practice that I'm sure if you find like locations to like host a night or do your own like R or whatever, I'm sure you could. If you had enough money, you could probably get a really good spot somewhere like that a lot of
yeah.
people go to.
The idea, of course, would be just to break even. It's not even to make any
Yeah.
money, but if you're waiting in line to to do the circuit, and you get to know the people, and you can't just come over and say, hey, maybe you can. I see a guy doing that. You went to Sweden or something. He just wrote to all the comedy clubs, hey, I'm there from this week, that week, can I
Yeah,
come and
well,
do stuff? And they go, yeah. So
some
that's
places,
my
yeah,
idea.
if your reputation precedes you, especially, you can you can go ahead and they'll like I've been at clubs where they've had I've been on as an open spot, and then the headliner's been from wherever, another country, but they've like again like just like you said, they've like said ahead like, oh, I'm going to be here from whatever week to whatever week. Can I get spots and stuff? And because they tend to be fairly big names, they'll draw people in, and people are really happy to give them a headliner spots. It's always interesting to see all the different headliners. I've seen a lot of them. All the Scottish ones, I've seen a lot of them a lot, so I know pretty much all their material. off the heart. So it's really good. It's really fun to get people who you haven't seen before.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure there probably is. On the topic of comedy, I remember I was watching you and Michael Monkhouse chat, and you were talking about how comedy movies are mostly shit.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that for a little while, and I'm trying to think, like, I can remember old comedy movies that are really, like, I really enjoyed and really liked, and some of them when I go back to, I don't like them at all now. But other ones, like, there's other movies that I still think are hilarious. Like, what was that one? Basketball. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's the guys that created South Park, the cartoon. They made it. It's hilarious, but I was thinking recently, like, I have not seen a comedy film in the cinema in like the last 10 years that I enjoyed.
Yeah. Because it tends to be always the same movie, and it's like a high concept sort of thing that has to appeal to everybody, and you can't take any risks or not many risks when you're doing comedy. And comedy is the hardest thing to write. Drama is easy compared to comedy, so it is. It is weird. It is weird. Some things are funny, but when you see a comedy movie that is like 20 years old and people still like it, it's because they actually did something good with it, like satire, or they put a message across, and that was cool. But sometimes it's just gags for gags, and if it's just gags for gags, I like Leslie Nielsen and the parody movies and stuff like that. And those are just gags. Yeah, just complete.
They don't see. There's that old fucking tired phrase, like, oh, they don't make them like those anymore. And maybe they do. It's just the whatever it was they captured at that time. Like there was something. I don't know if it was Leslie Nielsen as a comic actor, because I can't think of another comic actor that's better than him. Like, the way he sells things, being completely deadpan. Completely.
Yeah, he understands. He's not there to wink at the audience. So, and that kind of thing lives in an alternate world. So they're not worried about being credible or whatever. It's just this is our comedic world. This is what happens in our world. So they just do that. Whereas if you try to inject comedy into a dramatic story, like, you end up with the plot or with the script, and then you try to put bits of comedy in there and call it a romantic comedy, whatever you want to call it. You just, is that the comedy? Is that just like a comeback or whatever? No.
If you fuse the drama with the comedy, you get like a half-baked version of both, and it doesn't work. It's like you get a shit drama mixed with a shit comedy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So but there's hope for us. That's a cool thing. When I sometimes watch this is a comedy, let's have a look, like in Netflix or something, and you go, it's so badly written. You say, hey, there's hope for me, because this shit got produced.
That's a very nice way of looking at it.
Oh yeah, but my wife, she's French. She's go, oh, let's watch a movie. It's a nice movie, and she reads the log line or whatever. So this is a famous actors, and they say this, and then like all the cliches they put in there, and all the crap, and because there's some kind of comedic character has maximum 3 to 4 traits of character, and it should act according to those traits. But then you see that someone will go, hey, wouldn't it be funny? I have like some guy smoking a joint in the writer's room. Wouldn't it be funny if this guy just shot someone in the face? Oh yeah, that'll be really funny. And then
it's like the joke is more important than what you've established as the character.
Exactly. So then you get characters doing crap stuff that you're like, oh, why did you really have to do that? Ruined this particular movie. Was this a school for young ladies to be good housewives and stuff, and of course it was run by a man and his wife, and of course when he died, the story starts when he dies, and the school has a lot of debt.
Sure.
And by that point, I was already fed up with the fucking movie, and I said, "Fucking crap movie." And then, of course, the guy dies, and they start rummaging through his papers. I say, like going through his papers, and I say, look, if they find a fucking nude magazine, I'm out of here. And of course, 3 seconds later, there you go, the little porn in the stash. Oh,
You could see
on,
you could see it coming over the sand dunes.
Exactly. So here, oh, they're going to go through his papers. Here it comes. And then when it gets there, I say, oh fuck, man, these people. And like another scene of this same movie, the guy is at the table, is eating, he chokes, and he's choking, and instead of someone giving him the Heimlich maneuver or doing something, he gets off the table, he goes across the dining room, he goes out into the garden, and he dies in the middle of the lawn somewhere. I said, who the fuck had this idea? Like, wouldn't it be good if he dies in that place because of the light or the lawn or it's a nice view or whatever, and someone
a
says,
ridiculous setup.
Exactly.
Like, see the thing with stuff like that, and I get it too whenever I watch. Like, one of the things I love, and you say comedy's the hardest, one of the hardest things to write. I think one of the other hardest genres of movie to do well is horror. And I watch a lot of horror films, and sometimes I just think, how are the writers not embarrassed to like submit stuff like this? Like how can you get an idea that's been done so like the exact same way that you're doing that many times? They have no shame.
No, like, they have no shame.
I'd be embarrassed if I wrote that. I'd be embarrassed before I even like it was on the piece of paper. I hadn't even typed it up yet. I'd burn the paper. I want anyone to know that I wrote this.
I would burn the paper and shoot myself in court. So I was going to show you this. So this is a couple of books about screenwriting, and it's called Save the Cats. Hold on. I was going to get up and not to show you my penis.
I'll maybe have to look into this because I'm trying to do screenwriting at the moment.
Hold on. I will find this. Oh yeah, Save the Cat. So there's two books. There's Save the Cat.
Sure.
And Save the Cat is by Blake Snyder. So everybody who can do read this. And then there's Save the Cat Goes to the Movies. This is like the sequel.
Sure.
So basically says there's 10 movie genres, and that's it. And it's always the same movie.
My stepdad told me about, he read a book about, for him it was about books, it was novels, and it's how there's only a certain number of plots for novels.
Yeah.
But you can do mad big twists and spins on them, but at the end of the day, they're the same plots.
Yeah. Yeah. Here he split cinema up into 10 movie genres, and it's always the same movie. It's either a buddy movie or a guy with a problem. He has his own definitions.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, like and it tells you, that's the funny thing. Say, okay, the script is 110 pages. By page 55, there's the middle point. Break into the second act, whatever. This is what has to happen. And then when you think about a movie like The Lion King or Happy Feet, it's exactly the same movie. It's exactly the same movie. And you go, wow. And he has a whole bunch of examples of movies that are basically the same movie.
It's a coming of age film. Well, those are about a coming of age film, and almost like an ascension to like leader. Do you know? I for whatever reason, my brain just went to the movie It. You know, the one with Pennywise. That's kind of the same plot too as those films, because it's about a bunch of kids who have to work together, overcome the coming of age, overcome this. There's just, you can take the same format and apply it to any genre.
Exactly, and you end up, and that's dramatic structure. You end up going to the hero of 1,000 faces, where you go, well, all the mythology of the world and everything, the storytelling and the thresholds and the helpers and the antagonists and all the kind of ordeals the hero has to go through to get to wherever he wants to go, and the lesson he needs to learn, and it's all. And he says something funny in the book, like there's the love movie. If you have a movie with friends, with like Rain Man, and their brothers, it's the same movie as a romantic story, just that they don't have sex.
Yeah.
And if you
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. they're good, they're fine with each other, then they fall out, and then they think each one thinks he's better his own way. Then he realizes that he's not as good because he's missing some essential ingredient that the other one has, and then they come back together, and then it's
Pineapple Express. Oh my god, I'm just thinking of so many now that are just that film. Hot Fuzz.
That's the problem.
Well, Hot Fuzz has more to it, but yeah, Shaun of the Dead. That's another one. It's got zombies in it, but it's also a buddy film.
Exactly.
And actually a love film at the same time.
You read the book, you read the Save the Cat, the two Save the Cat books, and it's on Audible as well. And you just go, oh man. And then the funny thing is that when you go to watch a movie and you go, okay, let's see what these guys did. So this is the first image. Oh, is the last image the opposite of the first image? Did the world change?
Oh, you just reminded me of something. They should call that book "How to Ruin Movies for Your Wife."
Oh yeah. Oh, but that's the thing. It's completely predictable after you. Let me guess. They're going to fall out.
You've reminded me of. Did you ever see this thing about RoboCop? You know, the classic RoboCop. That film is almost perfectly symmetrical. So like the opening scene of John standing it mirrors the closing scene of RoboCop, and then like the scene of like if you go like say X amount of time into the film, there'll be a scene that if you go X amount of time from the end of the film, it will be the same scene, but like the main difference will be either that he is a robot in the scene and it's like juxtaposing him as a human and him as a robot, or it'll be like in one scene he's getting shot and then the other scene he's shooting somebody. Like the film is a perfect mirror image up to the middle point, and then the middle scene is like a perfect swivel. And it's I think the swivel in RoboCop is him becoming RoboCop. So, but like things like that I actually quite like, because like that shows an attention to detail in filmmaking and cinematography that's actually really satisfying to like break down, whereas other films are just horrific to break down.
Sure. Because some people say, "Hey, I have an idea. Let's do this differently." And it's like they say with French movies. French movie, it can end at any moment. That's it. At whatever point of the fucking movie, they just go the end. People, oh, it's finished. All right. Oh, cool. That was a very good movie. I didn't understand shit, but it was very good. Probably that's why it was very good, because I couldn't understand.
It evoked emotions.
Exactly. So it's like it's like a conceptual kind of thing. So I didn't. Once a friend came out of the cinema with a friend, and she goes, "Oh, that was a lovely movie." What do you mean lovely movie? She says, I couldn't understand anything. Some people like independent kind of movies. Oh, this is not Hollywood. This is not commercial. This is
art house movies.
This is artistic. Yeah, well, okay.
I don't need to understand art. I just need to appreciate it.
Exactly. Yeah, photography was very good. All right. Well, this has been fun. Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. So, if you can send me your links and everything, so I'll put in the description of the video.
Sure.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to come and see you live and listen to those dark one-liners.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you ever
see your dark one-liners, like the sexual kind of thing, you find a hard kind of dark thing that you're into.
It'll be hard and dark, don't you worry.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we managed to get to two. No, we didn't. Without any inappropriate thing, but no, we said a bunch of shit already. Anyways, well,
all right. Well, yeah, I'll get you those sent over. But yeah, it was lovely to be on. What's the working name? Scott and Friends.
Scott and Friends, whatever. Yeah, it's just
happy to be
it's just an idea. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice having you on. And if you know other comics who want to, this is a chat basically. So, but like I like the idea that comics kind of show their personalities off stage, because if you're a dark guy and you say really horrible things, people might think you're an asshole.
It reminded me. Yeah, there's a thing that was said. Remember, I mentioned one of my top 5 comics was Frankie Boyle. Well, Frankie Boyle is known for almost psychotic jokes, like really, really, really dark. And there was a thing somebody said about him, which was a lot of comedians, when they're on stage, they're very happy and they're very friendly and they're very great. But when they're off stage, they are assholes and they're terrible people and they're psychopaths. Frankie Boyle is the opposite. When he is on stage, he is a psychopath, a sociopath, and he tells horrendous jokes. But off stage, he's one of the nicest people in the world. He's very, very kind and humble and stuff. And I've always tried to make a big thing about being horrible on stage and being nice off stage to mirror that.
Yeah, because you just if you're nice on stage and off stage,
it's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, go fucking do TED Talks. Not leave me alone. I don't want to hear any of yours. Anyway, well, thank you very much, Chris, for being on this, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Scott.
All righty, thank you. Ciao.